You didn't shut the video.
Hello, how's everyone doing today?
Good.
Good. Awesome. Killer. So this is it's called a really good, well, they're all good, unbiased. Yeah, let's talk about lead generation. What has been ways that you guys have been trying to find some deals, and what has been working, what hasn't been working, or what's you guys' thoughts? What's been your guys' experience so far? I'm curious to find out.
Well, I am calling the list for notice of default.
Okay. Yeah.
And I call a couple guys, and I have on my list. And, yesterday I called to about 15 to 20 people. A lot of people doesn't answer me. Some people, some phones doesn't work.
Yeah.
But one of my reasons that stopped me to talk with the others or find the leads, that's the language. I try in the first time before this course, I tried to find the Latinos name, and I just called to them. But yesterday I tried to push myself, and I called everybody.
That's great. Good job for you. I mean, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's good. So yeah, that's one thing that stopped me, but I don't want that stop to me. Yeah.
Well, and from someone that speaks another language too, I understand the what's the word I'm looking for? Lack of confidence, or like like I'm not as fluid as I am in Spanish, I am as in English, and in vice versa for you, Jesus. And so it is easy to think the other language you're speaking is not good enough, and I think that's a common for a lot of people. But hopefully the few things you take away from this whole games and the challenges is you don't have to be perfect. Like perfection, or the more smooth you are, that actually almost hurts you. But if you're if you're just being sincere and just mess it up on a word now and again, that's not a bad thing. That's something that's going to keep things going for you. I mean, because you're more relatable, you're a human being, you're not just some slick salesperson that's trying to steal all the equity in their minds, right? So yeah, so good job for you on reaching out, even with a little nervousness, of calling people whether they speak Spanish or not, right? But yeah, good for you, Jesus. That's awesome. I love it. What other ways have we been trying to find leads?
Hey, Jared, if I can piggyback that.
Please.
I enjoy speaking to Hispanics a lot more than gringos. They're nicer, generally.
It's true. I mean, for cold calls, 100% right. I would agree with you. The level of knowingness is dramatically reduced. Like and that's been my experience too. So that's kind of cool. Yeah, I get that. What other? So, notice the defaults. What are some other things you guys have tried as far as finding deals or finding leads?
I went driving for dollars yesterday, and I got like a lot of properties. And today I got on the phone. I have a partner now. I'm so excited. And we got on the phone and made calls together today.
Oh, okay.
And I've been using the default list, but they're not as good as I thought they were. I guess they're just a little bit harder to sift through. So my only way to generate leads right now that's working for me is driving for dollars.
Okay. Well, that's awesome. I mean, it's awesome that you took action, right?
Yeah, I knew what you meant.
But So when you say the notice defaults are a little bit harder to sift through than you anticipated, like what do you mean by that? Just they're not. It's hard to find the phone numbers, or they're not as receptive as you thought, or what? What do you mean?
Well, so all the notice of default people, they're fixing to go to auction like in the next 1 to 3.5 weeks, it seems like, first of all. Second of all, the place where I go to find them is tnpublicnotice.com. And it gives me it does allow you to filter down to certain counties, but then often when I do that, nothing at all is available. So I end up having to do the whole state, and you have to read down. It gives you typically what it gives you is the name of the publication, like the newspaper or wherever it was printed, and then you click on that. Then you can click on their whatever it is, and then read all through that and get the property. Then go look up the property. So it's just it's I don't know, maybe that's normal, but
well, that's a lot of hoops to go through.
Yeah,
absolutely.
but I don't know how else to get leads except for Drive. Like that's the only way. I mean, I've I put a post out asking for people. I've actually texted, listening to you yesterday, one of your videos about how your friend of the family's family sold their house to another wholesaler and lost out on money, and you lost out on the deal because they didn't know. So I texted my brother yesterday, who I don't really talk to him that much, but I said, listen, he's in Georgia and I could work there too if I wanted to because I have stuff set up. So I said, if you know of anybody. So, I'm working on making sure all my friends and family know as well, but I don't have any other way I don't know any way else to get leads.
Okay.
I'm really struggling with that.
Got it. No, and I'm thanks again for expressing that too, because I'm sure a lot of people feel the exact same way. So I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Driving for dollars. One is one of my favorite. I don't know if it's the lead. I don't know if it got me more. No, it hasn't got me more deals. But when I was first starting out, that was probably my best lead source generation was driving for dollars, 100%. Do you have a DealMachine? Have you started using that?
I'm in it.
Okay. So DealMachine, and that's how you're keeping track and getting the phone numbers is through the DealMachine. Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
You can pull up notice the defaults from DealMachine. You can actually look up here. You can look up a let me see. Let me pull it up here.
On the quick filters, right? I'm on it right now. So I see owner occupied, absentee, adjustable loans, bank owned, cash buyer, free, clear, high equity, tax delinquent, and pre-foreclosures and tax delinquent. So I would just need to, I think, draw the area, put the box around the area, and then put those filters on. I'll do that. I thought it was not good. So just super fast. I wasn't trusting some of this information because it said that I was in default, like tax delinquent, me personally. I said, okay. So today I called the tax office. I said, I just want to find out if I'm in default. And they said, yes, you are. So apparently it is accurate. I'm no longer because I paid it, but
right.
I wasn't trusting it, because I did not think I was delinquent.
Right.
So I'm going to go back in now because I just found out that this morning, shortly before I got on the call with my partner. And so now I'm going to do what you said. So I'm going to build a list that way because I think this is a great site. I have struggled a lot with finding phone numbers. And when I was on the phone with my partner, he uses an actual different skip tracing, and he was able to get a lot more newer phone numbers than I can get in this. So
well, great. I mean, any way you can find the phone numbers, right? What's the service that he's using? Do you know?
I forgot to ask. I meant to ask. We kind of cut our call short, but I'm going to ask him later because I literally meant to ask that when I was talking to him, but we worked all the way till 1 o'clock and Eastern time, and I wanted to get on this call. So I meant to ask him, though. I'll ask.
No, yeah, that's awesome. And so your partner, if you don't mind me asking, is it somebody you've done deals with before, or you just kind of got connected, or what's the...
Let me tell you how I got connected, because my biggest MMA, I'm so excited, I can't stand it. So my biggest MMA this week was I went to my first, look, I hate networking. I've always hated it, right? Because I think it's using people. But so I went to a networking event today, Tuesday in Knoxville, and I met tons of people. And one of them is this, he works full time as a project manager, I think, and he's also doing wholesaling. And we have the same core values for what we want in our business to help others and also to help ourselves, not to take all the money out of the deal, to leave for the flipper. Like everything was the same. And so I said to him after we got to know each other, I said, well, would you like me to cold call for you? I'll do it for free. Because he said, I'll pay you commission. I said, well, I've never really done it. So I'd like to do some for free and then we can talk about it again. And so
Right.
he's happy to work with me and
Yeah.
he needs help cold calling. And so that's my new partner.
That's awesome. Everyone needs to take notes what Rachel just did. I mean, and in my videos, as far as like finding a mentor, like this is kind of like the pathway. I don't know if you watched that to give you that idea or not, but regardless, I love that a lot. When we're networking and we meet someone that's more experienced, that has has better results, and we want them to take us under the wing and mentor us, because I had plenty of mentors along my way. I still have mentors today. I'm constantly looking for people that are doing bigger and better things than what I'm doing, and that's easy to find. But getting them to want to take you under the wing and do and those kind of things can be challenging. And the typical, hey, let me buy you lunch and I want to pick your brain is like, it makes me gag. I mean, I'm sorry, but it's just like it's a pet peeve of mine. Like I don't know. I just absolutely hate it. And the reason why I say I hate that is because I guess it's not terrible, because it's worse things. But when you're thinking of someone that's more advanced, that they have the business is running, and they're gonna have to give out an hour or two of their time, which is the most valuable thing that they own. They probably would have rather given you a couple $100 instead of just not wasting, but spending, giving the time um, for a quote unquote free meal. Like, you buying lunch is nothing really exciting. You know what I mean? Um, but when we go with them, like trying to value, like, yeah, I'll cold call, like, and you should be compensated, if, eventually, or maybe after the first couple of bit, you get some more experience under your belt, like 100%. But just offering, like, yeah, what can I do to help your business? You need a cold caller? Like, yeah, let me do this. Let me get experience. Let me show the value, and then we can talk about partnerships or whatever. Um, I love that, because now this person that I almost guarantee, providing you continue taking action, if you have a question or if you have a deal you need advice on or whatever, he's gonna be there. And that's the amazing part too. So you're getting experience, and also you're practicing on his leads, right? Did he give you a lead to
Well,
call, or is it just like, I'm
that
just gonna call?
that was my hope, that I was
Okay.
going to he was going to provide a list, because that's where I've been struggling, is getting enough numbers to call. I would be doing
Okay.
more MMAs. I would be calling more people, but it takes me so long to find the numbers and all the information, et cetera.
Yeah.
So I was hoping for his list. Now, we did call from his list today, but he did not give me that, and that was but I apparently didn't communicate it correctly. Anyways,
Right.
so I'm having to do it myself. But I went out driving for dollars yesterday, and I found, like I said, a bunch of houses. So anyways, no, it's my list still. And I'm going to
Okay.
make some more phone calls when I get done here on all the people on my list. We called a few on my list, and then we switched over to his list, which he gave me the addresses. I looked them up in DealMachine as we did them, but I did not record them because they were his, and he didn't
Sure.
tell me I could.
Sure.
But I went to him wanting to do the cold calls for him, because you also said in your ones, I can't remember if it was all the net, no time, little money, all that, where
Yeah.
you said to see what you can do for others. And so that's what because I got nothing to offer anybody except for my time right now.
Right. Well, that's huge. That's huge I mean, like I said, time is the most valuable asset that we have. And so you offering that to this guy is and by the way, when you do start getting, as side tangent, when you do looks like you're about to get a deal, make sure you get something, not as far as a JV you're in, because this is a new relationship. He could be a straight as an arrow, very honest person, or he could be very slimy and scummy.
Yeah.
I tend to notice that most of those type of people, the slimy, scummy type people, they don't last too long, but they can still be active for years until they finally, peter out before it catches up with them. But it just always protecting yourself, right, as much as you possibly can, especially when it's somebody you don't necessarily know super
Yep,
well.
I've never met him before Tuesday. So
Right.
definitely paperwork. What did you say? Paperwork preserves relationships, whatever you said.
Yes, yes. Paperwork keeps
Believe in
friends
that.
friends. Yep,
Yes.
exactly. No, no, okay, perfect. I love it. That is so cool. Good job, Rachel. And when he's giving you a list, you're practicing on his leads, and then when you have yours that you're ready to go, you're that much more experienced. I mean, it's like it's a huge
Yeah.
win all the way around. So that's awesome.
Yes,
Congrats.
thank you. And he already told me, he says, you can just call me your partner. And, if they have any questions, he told me a lot of the same that you had already told me. If they have any
Yeah.
questions and you can't answer them, just say, this is the part of the business my partner does. He said, please go ahead and call me your partner. So I plan, like, if we get an active lead at that point, that's when I'm going to look into figuring out a JV contract. Would you recommend that or something else?
Yeah, I think
Okay.
so. Once I mean, you can do like an tentative one, but I really don't. I doubt you would even be like interested. But like once you get something like it's gonna be, looks like it's gonna get under contract, um and having conversations beforehand too, a little bit as far as like how do you guys planning to split it? What if is this gonna be like a finder's fee or whatever? Having those type of conversations as you get closer. I mean, I think that's
Yep.
gonna be good.
Okay.
But yeah, that's so cool. That's exciting.
Awesome.
Yeah, so you haven't you at first you thought it wasn't the deal machine I'm referring to wasn't as accurate, but then you saw that with the tax liens it actually is. Um, yeah, okay, got it. The phone numbers are always going to be. I mean, I don't know. I found that the phone numbers of deal machine have been pretty good, but everyone's. I mean,
So the only reason the only thing I have to base that on is we looked at some of the same properties, and when I gave him, like, a lot of my numbers, it'll say from a line that hasn't been used in several months. But then sometimes it'll have another line with a green dot that says that there is at least minimal usage going on. But when I could only find one number, he was able to find like three more numbers for the same person that were not in DealMachine.
Okay, that's cool. No, it's great that he was able to get those. That's awesome. Love it,
Yeah.
love it. Okay, cool. Um, yeah, great. What other lead sources have you guys been looking at? This is awesome. Thanks, Rachel. And I think we're going to talk about some other ways of potentially getting some leads here. But everyone else, what has been some other your lead sources?
So, Jared, I've been looking at Facebook Marketplace and just looking at houses.
Yes.
And I find some that I like, some of them I don't. But I've decided that I'm just going to analyze what I can find, and then I'll see what we can do about making an offer. But so far, that's where I'm getting my leads from.
Are you analyzing it before you're making those phone calls, or is
Oh,
it?
yes.
Okay.
Definitely. I don't want to make a phone call I can't give them something solid.
Okay. So can I give you I mean, because I totally like get it. You're going to start a conversation and you don't want to call them like, I'm not sure what I can offer you or whatnot. I mean, how much, well, let me ask you this, right? Because these are people, the Facebook Marketplace, because I've bought properties off of Facebook Marketplace. And this is similar to Craigslist, KSL here in Utah. That for sale by owners. This would be the same as if like going on to Zillow and looking at the for sale by owners there. Okay, so it's the same category. They're all for sale by owners. Well, not all of them. Some of them the agents will list it on there as well, but for the most part, they're for sale by owners. Um, how much time, Laura, are you kind of putting on like analyzing the deal before you make some calls before you call them, would you say? Because I understand you're first starting out, it's gonna take you a lot longer than like when I first started out. I mean, analyzing deal took a lot longer than it does now. Like I can, give me 5 minutes and I have a pretty good idea of what I can offer in fairly good detail. I'm usually pretty close to it. So how much time do you think you spend on that, give or take?
Probably a half hour to an hour at this point, maybe longer, depending on how quick I can find information.
So let me before we've actually contacted, because again, if this was like a no default, I would say don't even, or any other type of lead, because you don't even know if they're even interested in having a conversation about selling the property or not.
Right.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, you can do some more analysis before you give them a call because it's more likely you're going to have that type of conversation. However, when we're finding, and again, this is probably and this is probably good experience for you at the same time, kind of analyzing these deals. But I would rather you be making 10 calls in that hour of you, and then instead of analyzing one deal. And the thing is, like, well, what I say, how do I know if it's if that note, if not notice of default, that of that property is any good? How can I do a quick analysis on that property that's going to take like maybe 2 minutes to do, right?
Right.
So let's do you have an example of one that you're working on right now that we can do just a quick?
No, because I lost one yesterday, so I've just started looking at one
Okay,
today that
got it.
didn't work.
Okay,
So
got
I'm
it.
just looking at one today.
Because here's the challenge with notice of, or not notice of defaults, with for sell by owners, them and reality, like reality's here in the United States, and then they're in China. You know, that's the vast majority of them are pretty far up in the night in as far as reality, as far as like how much their house is actually worth.
Right.
So it's the ones you want to contact are the ones that are just put out, like just recently, like you just listed it 2 days ago. That's the one you want to call. That's the one you want to do some research on. Or the ones that have been like it's been 90 days plus. It's been, more than a few months that it's been trying to sell the property and nothing's happened. So you want to catch the good ones that actually are in reality. They understand what their house is actually worth, and they can have some potential conversations with that. And then the people that have they think their house is made of gold, and then their reality kind of kicked them in the teeth a bunch because every single person that gave them an offer, they're like way lower than they would expect. They have this 300 square feet house and they want like $2 million out of it. Obviously that's kind of extreme, but I mean, it seems that way for a lot of these people. So they see a mansion that sold down the street, and then so their house must be worth even more than that because it's smaller and worse condition for some reason. But so after reality kicked them in the teeth a couple times, then they might be more willing, or if if there's like the time frame is urgency for them to sell, then they're more willing to have an actual real conversation, accept, or even look at a realistic offer for them. If that makes sense, right?
Yeah, that makes, yeah.
So I would look at making those or hitting those getting those people that are just on the market or that are been on there for a minute. Okay.
Okay.
And I would have a conversation before you even do the analysis to see if they're even open to like creative financing or anything like that too as well. You can pull up an address on Zillow, for example. Here, let's do some some examples here. Let me pull up Facebook Marketplace, and then we can just do a quick little. You guys want to do a real life example? Should we look at this real fast and just show you like
Please.
the quick analysis that I'm doing for? Okay, let's do this. Okay, so all right, so Facebook Marketplace, we'll just use that as an example because that's what you're looking at, right?
Right.
So when you're going and buying okay. Oops. This is being silly. Or I'm being, there we go. Okay. So go to, so when you go to Marketplace, then there's homes for sale or home sell. We don't want property rentals, right? But we're looking for houses. So okay, let's just use this one right here, right? 469. And a lot of times when I'll go through and I'll start kind of looking at the prices to give me a rough idea, right? If it's in like the 300 range, and obviously the market makes it a big difference. So if it's, you know, certain areas, certain things, say $1.5 million for a 6-bedroom house in Draper. Like, I mean, it definitely could be worth that, but that seems still crazy to me. So I think this one up here is probably fine. So the 469, and I wouldn't, if the house looks really, really good condition, I would just say next, right? Because this is pretty good condition, right? Definitely decent. But it looks like this one has 2 units. Mother-in-law apartment in the basement. So I would have I would call this person and see if they're even open to seller financing, first of all, right? Because that could be, because there's not much rehab needs to be done in this property, from what I'm telling, for what I can tell, for that area. Like the outside, you can definitely do a lot of stuff. The roof looks decent. The garage door probably needs to work, so it does need a little bit, but not much of anything. Like when you look at the kitchens and bath are the biggest tell sign of what might need to happen with this property. I don't see any pictures of the bathroom. Oh yeah, right here. So that looks great, especially for that area, West Valley. This is top notch. There's not much you can do to improve it. And this is the downstairs one. So yeah, this is not a property that you would do a lot of work in, right? So, and it looks like they didn't give they only gave approximate location, or approximate what do you call it? So it don't have an address, right? So, and I don't see any phone numbers for this guy.
Hey, Jared.
Yes.
I've noticed, without taking, oh, it's on the MLS.
Yeah.
Without taking too long, by just zooming in, it'll pretty much zoom into the exact house, or maybe the one next door. And then from there, you can just use Google Maps and get the address.
Okay. So yeah, like the right in the middle, just keep zooming until we
all the way right to the house. And
right
then
to
you
the house.
yeah,
That makes sense. That's kind of
picture, you can confirm which one you're looking at.
right. Okay. Which makes sense. If they put in the address and they put in this proximate, then yeah, that makes sense. That's a good that's cool. Okay. But I'll just reach out to this guy and see about having a conversation, you know? So, bam, and then send, and that's that. So I wouldn't do anything else other than with this one, because if they're not willing to do creative financing, and that price is probably pretty up there with that area. So yeah, another thing, if they have the address, let's find a different one. Let's keep on going. So then that would be like the max amount of time I would spend on this property as far as any research, because there's not much research it can do.
If I can ask, just
Please.
with a brief answer, since we're moving on, but
yeah.
I mean, if they are willing to do creative financing, like what would be the play there?
So it would be, we would need to figure out at that point, it's like what kind of interest rate that they're willing, that they're okay with, or like the payments, how much down. So finding out that type of stuff, and then seeing what the rents are, because if they have a mother-in-law apartment and maybe they're renting upstairs too, they probably have a good idea of what the place is renting for. So you can kind of see where the rents, if it would actually cover the mortgage payment, and then wholesale seller financing deal, turnkey. That's an easy slam dunk win.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Or if it's something you want to pick up yourself for a rental or whatever, right? So it's not necessarily for a flip, but a great rental. And it looks like this is the Palmer Street, that's the same street that we zoomed into as well. So you're right about that, Jeff. But yeah.
So Jared, if you find one that's looks like it doesn't have a lot of work, like I found one yesterday that's in St. Anthony, and they want it listed for 175. It's been totally revamped, and everything looks brand new on the inside. Is that's what you're saying, we shouldn't offer on something on that one, or
if it's revamped, like where's the value add? Where's the deal, right? If it's creative financing, then we got a potential. We got something.
Okay.
Right? Should we let's call this agent You guys want to call right now? Or we can still talk about lead generation, but I think let's do an MMA. Because then I'm going to talk about creative financing. You guys want to hear how to do it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Hey, Troy, how's it going? This is Jared Brenchley.
Got a few minutes, just letting you know. But
Perfect. Yeah, I only need a few minutes anyway, so I'm gonna call myself. So that's a perfect. I was calling about your property I've listed in West Valley, in Palmer Drive, the 4517. I had a few questions in it, so it looks like there's a mother-in-law apartment as well.
there is.
Okay, got it. And would you know, is the sellers open to any type of creative financing at all? And by the way, I'm not represented by any agent. I'm not an agent anymore, but this is more property for me to purchase.
So, yeah. Okay, I don't know if the ad. I do have it listed.
Mm-hmm.
Was that pretty clear? I don't know.
Yes.
I'm getting some that are like, oh, are you an agent?
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyways, so yeah, it has a mother-in-law. They are not open to seller financing at this time.
Got it. Is there any reason why not? I mean, if we're able to give them the terms and then they just get the money later on, or
To
what
be
was?
honest, I've had a few people come to me and with seller financing, I've gone to them and said, look, I can get you top dollar. We can probably go above asking and get seller financing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And they just don't want to.
Okay.
I had that conversation with them and they just said, I just want to be done.
Sure. No, I get that.
So,
Do they have a loan on the property? Because I wonder if we can do some sort of like maybe subject to like cash them out of the equity, but we pay the bank later.
so
And
they do have a loan on it. To be honest, they just want to get, so they just bought it a year ago. They dumped a ton of money into it, and now they're just looking to get their money out of it
Right.
and move closer to family that are just moving closer to family.
Sure, that makes perfect sense. And just, I mean, and I understand if you can't tell me, but do you know what the loan is on the property right now that they have, the mortgage? If they only bought it a year ago?
To be honest, I think we're right about break even right about now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
So there's
gotcha.
just with the amount of money that they put into it,
Mm-hmm.
I think they're about break even. So there might be a little bit of wiggle room, but not much.
Right. Well, I mean, so if we were able to cash them out all of their equity, right?
Okay.
Whatever that looks like, because they put money into it, and so hopefully they're getting money back, you know. And I understand they want to live with their family and they're closer to family, which makes perfect sense. If we were able to get them all of their equity and maybe even go a little above, we can kind of figure it out once we nail down some of these numbers. And we just left the mortgage in place. Do you think there'd be something that they'd be at least open to having a discussion about that?
They were pretty adamant because I've talked to them. I was like, look, you can do seller financing. I can get you.
Right.
They would sell pretty quick.
Right. But in this scenario, they would get all the cash. So just the same thing as with like the cash, but they're just leaving their mortgage. Are they going to buy another place, or are they like going to?
They're they're moving into a family's house.
Gotcha.
So, and that's why I was like, this is kind of a perfect scenario to agree the contract, and if they can come in with, I mean, I'm open to have another conversation with them.
Right.
The home's been on the market for a few weeks now.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, we've had quite a bit of interest in it, but I just have not had the right offer yet. And so I'm open to having another conversation with them.
Yeah.
And if you're willing to come in with, giving them the money they've invested into the property.
Yes.
Who knows? Maybe they will.
Right. I mean, yeah, that's kind of, I mean, if they put money into it, they should get the money out. I mean, we all been in those tight deals before, so I get it.
I had with them was something similar, but they shut me down pretty quick.
Gotcha.
And I was like, I'm just letting you know.
No, I get it. Yeah, and this may not be even doing like a subject to scenario and getting the equity out may not be a good deal for them, or let me phrase that. They may not be interested in something like that, even if it would be a good deal or not. That's a whole nother story. Right.
So
Okay.
how about I have that conversation with them? Do you mind giving me a call back? Maybe this weekend, if not first thing next week.
Sure.
And then I'll save your number and we can just chat.
Perfect. Yeah, and I'll text you my info too, my email, just so we're having, you can see my contact information. And this is a crazy thought, Troy. So give me a little bit of rope. But would it be, because I'm sure they might have questions, and just to give you a little bit of background about myself, I mean, I've been investing in real estate, not like decades, but 7+ years, 150 transactions in, and we've done a lot, like more than half has been some form of creative financing, whether that's seller financing just outright or subject to. So I wonder, and this is totally up to you, obviously, and them, and if you'd be open to like doing like a 3-way call sometime, and that way if they have questions about doing something like this, like we can answer it right away, and like I don't want their phone number or nothing like that. Like you bring them on the phone, and I don't know if that'd be something that'd be
property for you.
okay.
I'm not an agent. I'm not a buyer's agent on it. It's just someone that's been hounding me to buy the property.
Okay. Right.
I've just kind of told them no, but they're looking at something creative as well. They just want to keep it in the house and rent it back. I don't know. So I may have another property.
I've done stuff like that before.
If you could follow up with me on Monday, I got to step into a meeting.
Yeah.
And so I don't want to be rude, but
no worries. No, not at all.
Call.
Yeah.
If you get back to me, I may have a property.
Perfect.
For you as well.
Great. How about I call you Monday at 11? Is that?
We actually do after 2?
After 2?
2:30.
2:30? Yeah, we can do that. 2:30. Just I'll put a reminder text in it so we
Perfect.
Mostly for my benefit, right? Yeah. So I'll call you.
I need to. And then if you'll just message me your info.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That timestamp, and I'll put it in my calendar.
Perfect. Yep. Great. No problem, Troy. Okay.
Thanks, man.
Yep. Appreciate it, man.
Talk to you later.
All right. Bye. Okay, we're off. Thoughts?
That was awesome. You got a new contact, possible house. That was very cool.
Right. So, but
what would it look like? Like, what are you thinking that you could make happen on there?
So when he said that they're breaking even and they're trying to sell it, it makes me feel like they're probably behind on the mortgage. Is my initial thought.
Okay.
And it does look like they did something. Like the flooring looks relatively good, but it could have been the people before them that they bought. So they could have put in some work into it. I mean, it really depends on how bad it was beforehand. So my thought is like they're probably behind on their mortgage payment, and they just want to get out of this whole thing. And they're living with family versus buying a place, which again, more indication that they're behind on their payments. So depending on what their actual loan is, I was trying to get it out of the agent, but the agents, they're law bound by not giving that much information, right? But if they had the conversation with them before, then they mind to share, then they can share it. So, but you never hurts to ask, right?
Right.
And again, with Troy, trying to get the seller on the phone with the agent is 100, and it's obvious, right? But it's 100 times better, because we can answer the questions right then and there. We can actually go in instead of like doing the phone line. That's one of the reasons why I don't always love looking on the market. But this is potential. I mean, because if they're breaking even, that means the down payment to get them caught up and everything else wouldn't be that much potentially, right? So if we can get them to walk away with some cash in hand, so maybe we're offering like $475 instead of $469. We're paying the closing cost, and the down payment's like still under 30 as far as catching them up and then paying out their equity. Then that's a pretty good deal, depending on the payments and everything like that. But even so let's take a look at this too. So what you could do, so Excel, there it is. So with a loan, and if they just got it a year ago, let's just say they bought it at 450. We can do more research to find out how much they actually bought it for, but just for quick numbers, let's say 7% is probably about right. And by the way, like loan amortization calculators, you can just Google loan amortization calculators or go in Excel. That's what I do. And then I go into templates and then I just look up like balloon payment calculator, loan amortization calculator. That's what I use, these two right here. I mean, like, I use it so much, it's first thing, right? So it's easy, guys. If you need to look that up. Anyways, so 450,000, we'll just say, and we're just ballparking it here, okay? So a year ago, so 7, maybe 6.5%. We're going to try a little bit higher. 30 years amortization. It's going to be about $3,000 for principal and interest. So that gives us a rough idea, which is probably about the payment. 3,000. And then with the Zestimate loan.
I think I have their loan information.
Oh, perfect. You got it. You looked it up.
What's 525,350 is what it was sold for November 17th, 2023.
525.
That's what it looks like the same property. 4 bedrooms, 1.8 bathrooms, 1736 square feet. Listed by Domain Real Estate LLC.
So that's a little rough because the challenge with Utah specifically, because it's a non-disclosed state, which means that when there is a sale, they're not disclosing it to third-party websites like DealMachine, Renaissance West, PropStream, all PropStream, all of those third-party websites. They don't have access to the MLS in Utah for whatever dumb reason. It's the agents that are worried about losing their job because all the information's out there. So Utah just makes it harder, which is okay. It's fine. So sometimes it'll say like its last sold was 525, and it's a good place to kind of a quick little estimate, but it's probably was a lot less than 525 as I'm hoping, because they basically kind of have their algorithms and they give like it's a decent idea, but not 100% accurate.
Got it.
I wonder if the 469 could be exactly what they owe. And that's probably what they're trying to sell and get rid of it quickly, which this indicates like a huge potential problem for them. But that's cool. And again, so normally I wouldn't be doing much research until we talk to the guy, right? Now that we talked to him, this is when you do the whole longer analysis, and then we have an appointment to talk to him again on Monday, 2:30. I was trying to have him do it while we're on the call. That would have been cool. It's like 11 o'clock. Come on. Because that'd been cool to see the whole process, right? But okay, gotcha. And I didn't even have to. I'm leaving here with something. He offered another lead, so that was cool too. So it's definitely a good potential. But yeah, but it does make sense, Jeff, as far as what the play is for this particular one. If we get a sub 2 on this bad boy, and it's going to cash flow enough to make the payments, and between the upstairs and downstairs, it probably would. Trying to see, because they have where's the Zestimate rent? Oh wait, I just missed it. Hang on, I'm not available. Well, that's lame. Anyways, okay, cool. So if it is listed, right, and you can by the way, guys, you guys saw how I found that? I found the listing, because if it's an agent that throws it up there. That's just one of those decoration things, isn't it? Okay. They got to put in the listing, the MLS number. So you just copy and paste, throw it in Google search, and then it'll pop up the address too. But perfect. What other thoughts or what things you had to notice through that too? So I wouldn't have done the research until after we actually talked to the guy, and it should just be kind of a quick little. Let me just like with these Laura, this is like your method of trying to find some leads. I would just be like shotgun approach. I'm kind of looking through 500. So West Jordan 560 maybe. Let's take a look at that. Let's just take a peek, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Right. So that house looks good condition. Roof looks good. Yeah, not. So the definitely carpet's old.
Yes.
Paint job need. It could use a refresh. Oh, backyard's gorgeous. Okay. So on this one, yep, same scenario, isn't it? Do we have an MLS number? Is it listed? Nope. So no address, nothing else. So then I'm just going to do this. The message. Call me at the property? Sure. Done. Then after that, I move on to next. So I wouldn't, that's about as much, I mean, and then we have a conversation, then it's like, then you're going to go more details on it. And with agents, one thing I do want to point out too, because you'll see agents like with Troy, with creative financing, I'm more upfront and about just talking to them about creative financing because they have a little bit better understanding than a typical seller would. So I'm a little bit more, and especially or investors as well. So if I'm calling another investor, I don't dance around it and explain, because normally when you're talking about seller financing, for example, to a regular seller, I don't say seller and financing together. I don't say that because there's negative connotation with the term. They've talked to the broke uncle and like, oh, it's risky, it's dangerous, and like if it's done right, if it's done wrong, it definitely is risky and dangerous. Yeah, 100%. But if done right, it's phenomenal way, and there's ways you can set it up where they're not in any risk, or the risk is very low. If anything, that we have the most risk, as far as buyers go. So 69. Oh, this is a trailer.
So,
Yes, but
when you are looking through these and you do find an agent, do you tell them up front that you're an investor, or do you wait till you
I
get
don't say
more
investor. I just say, yeah, I'm looking to buy the property.
just looking at, okay.
Yeah. We don't want, I mean, I'm never going to owner agent. Okay. I'm never going to lie to them or anything like that, but I don't need to volunteer information if I don't have to. Right.
Okay.
If they're asking, what are you going to do with this property? Well, I mean, I'll probably have an investment. Either I'm going to fix it up and sell it or keep it as a rental. Like, I'm not sure yet. That's all I'll tell them. But normally I don't need them. Because again, there's negative thoughts about investors too, because there's some good parties and bad parties in it, and then they talk to broke uncle, all investors are evil, and like okay, some of them are, sure, but not. I would say most no, most of them are pretty good people. There's no. So Tyler, this is the guy. He owns it. He's an agent because it's a listing. The owner agent. He didn't put the MLS number or that has the address. So, all right, that's fine. First time, is this property still available? Sure. And then send next. Does that make sense, Laura, as far as like the time you should be kind of put into it? After you start having conversations, then, because again, we can be spending a lot of time on each and every single one of these, and it's not necessarily, it's not a real MMA until we actually had that conversation. And just get a rough idea, because maybe they're so just like, I'm getting this price regardless of anything,
Right.
then that's okay. Another thing too is I like apartments. People that own apartments are really open to creative financing. I know we're going to creative financing route here, but they understand cash flow. I think I've seen this one before. An apartments, 6-bedroom. I wonder how many. Okay, I know rent's 118,000. I went with the net is fully occupied, 12-month lease, 5 units. Cap rate. Jeremy Johnson Real Estate. And there's no people. Why did they put the address in there? I don't get it.
Yeah, most
Cap
of them
rate
I've looked at
65.
don't have the address.
What was that?
Most of them I've looked at don't have the address. I'm like, dang it, now you're gonna make me work harder.
Well, if anything, that's kind of good because then you can't do all the research on it until you talk to them. So that's kind of a good
Right.
thing. But
I'm
cap
talking
rate,
to, I've got one I'm talking to right now.
6% cap rate in Salt Lake is actually pretty good. 118. So they're asking for 1.5 divided by 6%. Oops. Times 6%. One. I want to see what their net operating income is. This is just more for my curiosity. My OCD is not OCD, but my 90,000. So the net operating income is about 90,000, which means that after expenses pay, so 40,000 is probably going to could be utilities, could be maintenance, could be a number of things, and then 90,000 is actually net operating income. Interesting. Okay, but we're not multifamily. Okay, sorry guys. Squirrel. I really like. I'm gonna. Oh wait, let me do this first though. Drop this guy a line before I forget. I think there's something here. Okay. Anyways, but does this kind of make sense, guys, or am I over complicating or simplifying? You know, you want to have that conversation first before you really dive deep into this. Like 540,000 for a 7-bedroom house. Okay, that's probably. And again, and maybe I can look at a property with a price and have an idea if it's like probably within the range of the area, but and some of you get and probably a lot of you can't yet, and that's okay. So don't be discouraged about that. You'll figure it out, right? But as you start doing more and more, look at this stuff. It's going to be okay, easier and easier. Let's just drop a line. I think there could be something. It's property available. Bam. So that's what I would do. Is this making sense? Oh, look at that. Someone responded. Yes. What's a good number? My contact is Troy. Is this
That's
the
same guy you just
Is it-
talked
That's
to.
the same
Yeah, I
guy.
was just gonna say,
I'll be available after 2 today. Well, we met at 2:30. So did I send
today
him?
or
Oh, I sent it before I called. That's right. Okay. Awesome.
Maybe that's
Okay.
the other property he was going to tell you about. Wouldn't that be crazy?
No. All right. All right. Awesome. Well then, yeah. Agents are a decent because I do a video about agents too, guys. So having conversations with agents and you can make that a good lead source. Just looking for, but just there's a whole video on it. But yeah. But was that helpful, Laura? Or
oh yeah,
everyone
tons.
as far as yeah. Okay.
And so now I'll have more to look at instead of just one.
Yep. Right. Yeah. I would just keep like next. Let's just do a widespread. I mean, like I said, ideally we want people that's been there for a minute or that they just listed it. Those are the two that are more likely going to give you some potential deals on for sell by owners. This is true for so Craigslist, KSL here in Utah, Facebook Marketplace, Zillow. Those are all for sell by owners. Well, not all because obviously like Troy's property, a lot of the agents will throw them up there to just to continue the market to market it. So, but they'll say it usually in the description if it's an agent or not, which is still fine, because Troy's a great example. This may or may not be a great deal for us. We'll find out. Okay. 5 minutes. Holy cow. All right. Well, I mean, I didn't get too much detail into finding the a lot of lead generation, but I think it was good having that conversation with Troy. For you guys to see what kind of how to have those conversations with agents, for example, that have listings. If I had more time, I would have talked to him about representing me as well, to being a dual agent. So it's always the mindset you want to be in is like, what's in it for Troy? If I can give all the benefit to Troy, and if he's going to get a commission off of Because here's the thing, if they're as tight as he's saying, he may be giving up a bunch of his commissions just to do this deal. So if I come in and like, yeah, I'll pay you your full represent me as well, because you can be a dual agent in Utah as long as both parties agree to it. But I'll pay you full commissions. And so if I'm giving him an offer and he's going to represent me and them, and someone else, and we'll say Jesus comes in with an offer and he's represented by another agent, or he's not represented by anyone, who do you think Troy's going to kind of push? Which offer do you think he's going to push towards, even if they're about the same? He's going to push mine because, yeah, because on my offer, he's getting 3%. He's getting his double his commission. Just bam, money. I mean, and I'm sure we'll give credit to Troy. I'm sure if the other offers were better, then yeah, well, you should do this, the other offer, ideally. But it's still, why put yourself in a spot where if there's even a close to a tie? I've had where people have taken my offer that was lower than other offers many, many times. And one, because they just felt like I was actually going to close. I was going to do what I said I'm going to do, versus like get on a contract and try to nickel and dime them all the way down. Like it's a realistic number. Like, okay, yeah, let's just go with Jared. We have good feeling with him. So yeah, but even still, I want to give myself as much advantage as I possibly can. So by paying Troy his agent fee, then all the better. It's even better. Okay. We're going to talk more about lead generation and different ways of finding it, but notice of defaults too, guys. Talking to title companies is a great way of pulling notice of default. They can give you like lists. I'm not sure, Rachel, do you guys use in your state? Are you, because you're in Tennessee, right? Memory serves.
Yep.
Do you have to use a title company, or you have to use attorney? Which?
Hey, that's a good question. I need to find out the answer myself. I'm new here and very new to real estate, but I know that there are. I looked up. We have a lot of title companies here, so okay. I guess that so we would use
the title companies. Okay, yeah, because normally if they're not, depending on the state, you'd have to use like a real estate attorney to do it instead of like a title agent. But if they have the title companies, that typically means that which is easier in my opinion, usually cheaper. But I'd reach out to some of these title companies. And when you're talking to these title companies, because they can pull that information out, right? They can just, a lot of times, like they'll do a weekly thing where they're sending out all of their the notice of defaults to their, as I smashed my mic, the notice of default to other investors like on a weekly basis, and it's like sometimes a lot of numbers and whatnot. So when you're calling title companies, you're doing it for multiple different purposes. One, you want to find a title company that's investor friendly. So when you do have a deal, you're going to send it over to Christine and GT Title, like how I am. Like I got my couple title companies that I use that I know I can use, like one of these three, and I know I'm going to be really happy. They're investor friendly. I have great relationships with them. So you want to have those in your back pocket. But giving them a call and asking them a few questions, very similar to the same questions you would ask for like an agent if you're to represent you, or to start sending you some pocket listings. It's like, hey, I'm new in this area. I'm looking to close 2 or 3 properties a month, and I'm looking to get some notice of default list. Are you guys able to pull that on a regular basis? Because every time that if I find any deals from that list, I would love to bring my deals to you and close them all here. So in that same breath, it's like, what's in it for them? It's not, hey, I need this. No, I want to bring you more business. And not only am I going to bring the business that I find off your leads, I'll probably going to bring other leads to you as well, because we built that relationship already, right? And so there's that. And if they are giving out notice of default lists, usually they're semi, very least investor friendly. But I'll ask them, like, do you work with investors? Do you like working with investors? Have you worked with wholesalers before? Have you guys how often do you guys come across wholesale transactions? Those kind of, and do you enjoy doing it? If their response is like, yeah, we do a couple a year, then like, oh, okay, great. For me, that's a next, because there's more than enough title companies out there to get some good ones. Unless they're going to give you like a list, then okay, maybe continue the conversation. But yeah, you want them to be the answer you're looking for. Like, yeah, We just did 3 of them last week. They were awesome. I love working with investors because I'll close like 5 deals with them in a matter of 6 months versus 1 deal every 5 years with an average person, right? So they're like most title companies that see the vision, like they understand the investors are a great way to go. Sometimes a little more headaches involved, but that's just part of the game, you know. So asking those type of questions, reaching out to them and see if they can send you like a weekly or how often they're able to pull it. I'm not entirely sure about that state if they're, I'm assuming they would be able to, but that one, it gets you a fresher list. And this is true for everyone that's listening, right? It gives you a newer list. Sometimes they'll have numbers already included, and you're building that relationship for that type of company. So yeah, I think that's a good way to get it too. So you're not going to go through all of the fun stuff you're having to do with the other company, whatever public notice.
Right. Yeah. And so like these lists that the title companies might have, would they, to me, it seems like they would all be the same things on the same list, but it sounds like you're saying that.
Well,
okay.
When I say the same things, it could be like the notice of default that were filed last week. They can give you like those versus, I don't want to stop, but versus like the next months or the ones, and it kind of varies depending which one you're looking for. Like for me, I like to get them early before they get real close to auction if I can. But for example, Linda, she loves, her favorite thing is to contact them when there's like 2 weeks before the auction, because there's urgency. Like if they don't do something right now, they lost the house, and probably if they're at that point and haven't sold it, they've probably already given up the thought or the idea. So that's why she comes in and then offers them the solution. And so that's been great for her. Me, on the other hand, I kind of like to catch people beforehand, but neither one of those approaches are wrong.
Okay.
Whatever.
And when you're doing that, so as the wholesaler, when you assign the contract, you would just have writing in it that says that stipulates which either foreclosure attorney or title company that the buyer would have to use, and that would be all you'd have to do to make sure that they got their got the business from it.
But you just because remember we talked about it on, I think it was Tuesday. You have the purchase contract and you have the assignment contract. So I would, depending on the time frame, I would send the purchase contract to the title company even beforehand and like, hey, start doing title. And when the buyer comes in, once in a while they'll insist on going somewhere else. That's very rare. Usually like, oh yeah, great, yeah, we'll use them. They're already working on title. Yeah, no problem. You know, so that's not too bad. And we're saying like, you know what, I got this lead from this title company, so I made my commitment to close with them. If you want to do this deal, we're doing it here. So you can just be like, this is matter of fact, we're just doing it here.
Okay.
And usually there shouldn't be any. The only time they have an issue if they've had issues with that title company before and there's been some okay. But I gotta take this. My daughter's calling me and she's usually at school, so I gotta see if something's going on. But awesome, guys. Well, I love you all. Appreciate you. Let's do some deals. Okay.
Thanks, Jared.
Thank you.